our weather forecast today.
Today's forecast, a lot of sunshine, blue skies, marine clouds. Just the perfect day to go outside and relax. That's your forecast. We'll be right back.
Yeah, sunny days, sunny days, sunny days. No clouds in the sky, but again, away feels like it's been a freaking decade.
Welcome back. This is the Social Beaches podcast now.
Yeah.
We're changing our name from Contracts and Cocktails to the Social Beaches because that's where you can find us on TikTok.
Yes, and that's where you're going to be able to find us everywhere. I don't know how we even came up with that name, but we came up with that name. We kind of loved it, the play on words, the Social Beaches. And it's fun, and it's fitting to our personality and sort of the area that we live in.
Yeah.
So that's our new name, the Social Beaches.
Because we don't just talk about contracts.
No.
We're not really drinking. So
yes, we both kind of
other
quit
than
drinking.
Our water and coffee.
Yeah. So, yeah. And it, we live by the beach. So there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about, first, I guess we should say who we are.
Oh, yeah. Who are we? Oh, and then we're going to change things up a little bit. We're going to actually mention where we work. So if you happen to find us through some random search.
We work on the Space Coast of Florida, which includes like Cocoa Beach, Melbourne, Vieira, Suntree, Palm Bay, and all the areas in between, all the beachside areas.
Yes. So all of Brevard County, and we also work in Indian River County, which most people know as Vero Beach, but also includes Sebastian, Wabasso, and some of those areas. So, yeah.
And I'm Kelly Bowling.
I'm Carolyn Smith, and we'll get it together for next time.
Yes. We've already gotten through that difficult, awkward part of changing our names. So today we're going to talk about hurricane season and some things that you can do to get your home ready and brace yourselves a little bit as far as it relates to your home. And this can help you whether you already own a home or if you're buying a home, some things to consider as well. So first I want to talk about the sales tax holiday that we have that started actually last summer in July of 2022, and it runs through the end of June of 2024 for what they call home hardening. And what that is it's a tax holiday, so no taxes paid on the purchase of impact-resistant doors, windows, and garage doors. Does not include the installation fee, but it's just on the materials itself. So that is a great savings to have. Of course, you're not paying the sales tax on that. But then how can you afford to maybe buy the product and have it installed? And many of the installers, they may have like a financing option or a payment plan option for you, but there's also something that's called a PACE loan. And I don't love a PACE loan from the eyes of a realtor.
Mixed things about PACE loans.
It's a great way for people who maybe otherwise wouldn't be able to afford to purchase that and pay for it in full, or maybe don't qualify for the financing because of credit scores or debt to income ratios. You don't have to qualify with a credit score in order to get this. But it does go on to your tax bill. You pay back the financing through a non-ad valorem assessment that then is added to your tax bill every year.
Right.
I just had a seller that had one of these, and she did it for her roof. So you can, utilize it for your roof as well.
Good.
Because that's considered like a hurricane hardening kind of thing too, because it helps your insurance and all of that. Typically, that PACE loan would stay with the property. Mm-hmm. And the new buyer does not have to qualify. However, there have been some loan issues with the FHFA, so the Federal Housing Finance Agency, with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They will not allow a buyer to kind of assume that loan. So it does have to be paid off by the seller at closing. And
does the seller always have the option, you think, to pay it off at closing, or does it have to?
It depends on the type of financing that the buyer is going to be getting. Okay. I feel like if you, as the seller, entered into an agreement for that loan, I feel the right thing to do is to pay it off. Yeah, because it does affect the value of the home, know, and it also affects your proceeds. So when you're thinking about selling your home, disclose that to your realtor that you have a PACE loan. My seller called it a hero loan is what she called it. So it was the type of program that she fell under, but it was a PACE loan. Okay. And think about what the payoff is going to be for that and see if you can find out information on it and calculate that as far as what your net proceeds are going to be. I think that's really important. Okay. But it's one way that people can help pay for
it is. If you need those things and you don't have another way to do it, at least that's an option for people. And I think, if you're thinking about getting your windows replaced or your doors or something, your exterior doors, go ahead and do impact if you can.
If you
can pay that, because if you do, the code is now, if you replace your windows, you have to have shutters. So if you don't currently have shutters, you have to put shutters on.
Right.
So you're going to have the cost of the windows and the cost of the shutters. That's still less typically than an impact, but with impact, you don't have to worry about shutters. You don't have to mount them.
Yeah,
you don't have to put them up. You're just
so much easier.
So much easier, and they are sound insulating. They are very, very energy efficient.
Yes,
and they're safe. I mean, you can't break through those things. So for safety purposes, they're also good for that.
Right, definitely.
Yeah.
So like, how does home hardening help with insurance? Like if you're going to get new windows, new doors, that sort of thing, it will help you with your wind mitigation credits, which can lower the amount that you're paying annually.
Yes.
But there's also some things that, like if you have an older home, like you have an older home that was built, in the 60s?
1964, yeah.
Yeah. And so the way the roofs were attached to the home at that time aren't the way the roofs are done now.
Correct.
So is there anything that you can do to make your insurance cheaper? I mean, you've done this to your own home.
Correct. When I waited till I was doing my roof. So when I did my roof, I did the soffits and I went ahead and restrapped all the trusses. So when you're doing the roof, it's the least expensive time to do it because they're already in there, they're doing things, and you're doing the soffits, and it was the least expensive time. And although it's an extra cost, it's really incrementally not that much. And honestly, we probably saved in a few years that in insurance, plus the home's safer. Right? It's strapped properly. It's a value and it increases the value of your home.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing all the way around. You can do it separately through like Florida Retrofits does those.
Yeah, I've had a buyer or two that has utilized that company to come in and do the retrofitting to immediately save on their insurance, because the amount of money that it cost them to do it was the amount of money they would save in 2 years, and they knew they were going to be there for more than 2 years. So that's something you have to take into account. How long do I plan to be here, and is it going to be worth it in the long run? How much will I save? So I feel like
if they do sell, there's value.
There is value there for sure. So the retrofitting is a great way to
make sure when you do your roof, I think we've talked about this before, but for some reason, Florida code does not require you to have a secondary water barrier.
But you should definitely do it.
You should always do it. Most roofers are going to include it always, but sometimes there's a roofer who will come in just to look like they're less expensive, will not have that secondary water barrier. So make sure that you always include your secondary water barrier.
And another thing I've seen, and I don't know if this is still happening now, but there's something called a shingle over roof, where they don't remove the old roof and they just shingle over top.
I don't know if they're doing that anymore.
I hope
used
not,
to see that
but I
more
would see
frequently.
it on the
which is
inspection report. Like, why would you ever want to do that?
Don't do that.
Or they'll do metal over shingle. Like they'll just throw the metal right on top. So not a good idea. Like, you want to make sure that when you're getting a new roof, not only are they stripping off everything that was there, but if there's any water stained roof decking, get rid of it.
Yes, change
Usually
out your plywood.
Quote will include like maybe 2 boards of plywood and anything else is additional. And it might seem like it's a great way to save money to not replace it, but it's going to come up during your inspection when you do go to sell, if that's something that could happen in the future. And then at that point in time, the only solution really is to then pull off all those shingles and SWR that you already have down, and then pull back that roof decking and then start from scratch. And that's expensive.
Yeah. And with a metal roof, you really can't remove a section of it. So then you're out of luck.
That's even worse. Yeah.
Yes. And if you're getting a metal roof, make sure you're getting the right kind of metal roof for where you are related to the coast.
Because for sure. You don't want a rusty metal roof.
So we see those and we're like, not good. Yeah.
It really turned me off for a metal roof at my house because I'm like, no, that looks terrible.
Yeah. Well, I have a metal roof and it costs a lot more to get the Galvalume, which you need by the coast. But and then I'll just say I replaced my metal roof, and then like 2 years later, or a year and a half later, we had that hailstorm and it damaged my metal roof. So normally a metal roof holds up really well, but it doesn't like hail. So,
definitely not. Yeah. And so that's, another thing that we were talking about is right now we just had a hailstorm here a couple days in a row. Actually, we had hail in the area, and my phone started blowing up with roofers calling, would you like a free roof assessment, an inspection, and all these different. So be very careful if you are getting calls like that after we have a storm, like a hailstorm or a tropical storm or hurricane. It's very predatory practice, I believe.
I thought it was banned. I thought that they passed
There's got to be
law.
some loophole that they're using, but never assign your benefits through your insurance to a roofer or any contractor for that matter. If you need help with filing your claim, like if you have homeowners insurance and you have some damage, and you want to file a claim, go ahead and open the claim up with your insurance company. And you might have luck with doing it on your own. I know that
I gave the look.
Yeah, I have not had any success handling it on my own. We've had 2 storms. We did Matthew and Irma.
Yes.
And neither time did they want to pay for anything. They wanted to give me $25 for carpet that got soaked through a roof leak. And we all know carpet's way more than that.
My roof came off. My roof literally came off in one of the storms. Like literally we're in the house and the roof is blowing off.
Oh my gosh.
And water's coming in through our can lights. And the insurance company doesn't want to give, they don't want to pay what they need to pay in order for you to replace your roof.
Right.
They don't want to pay that.
Yeah.
And so it's very hard as just a single person or homeowner to fight that insurance company.
Yeah.
You don't have the knowledge really.
No, and they're going to send their adjuster out. But what I recommend, and I know Carolyn recommends
yes,
this,
absolutely.
is call a public adjuster. And what's a public adjuster? It's somebody who you hire to work on your behalf only. They don't work for the insurance company. They work solely on your behalf. They're very thorough. They will come and do like the inspection, and they will get engineers involved if they have to.
Yes.
They get a whole like layout of your home, and they itemize everything that it's going to cost to fix it.
Yes.
And they make a very good case. And honestly, they're a great buffer between you and your insurance company because you can be totally hands off at that point. I know when I hired them the first time, I was like, why didn't I know about this sooner? Because all the stress was gone. I just knew that my adjuster was handling it for me.
And they know, like, they told me things that I didn't know I could. Like, there was damage, and I knew there was damage, but I was like, I was worried about the roof.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But the water coming in through the can lights had damaged the ceiling. There was some electrical work. It had damaged it was in the kitchen, so it had damaged, like, the upper cabinets.
Right.
And they're like, you should get
need to have all
of
these
this.
things. Yeah, same.
Yeah.
It was, all the extra stuff that you're like not seeing because you're just looking at the big picture.
Right.
And like, oh, okay, well, I need a roof and that's going to cost this much money.
Right.
But there's a lot of other repairs that end up needing to be done. And I will say both times we, we went through the whole process, like mediation and everything, and couldn't come to an agreement on mediation. And then a few weeks later, we got a notice like, this is the settlement they're willing to offer you. Do you agree or not? And I had an attorney involved at that point as well that they were able to recommend a great attorney to me who I now used twice to get through the process. Never had to go to court. Just we got to the mediation process. And then after that, it was like a settlement that was agreed upon by all parties. We signed. The check comes in the mail and you can move on with your life.
So we didn't have to get an attorney. We didn't go through mediation, but the insurance company came back and made an offer both times. So we had to do this twice. And one of ours was the hail because it damaged the roof. So we had a storm, a hurricane, and then hail. But they came back and they offered money, and it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to do the shingle roof that, we paid the difference to upgrade to metal.
Right.
But so it wasn't enough money. And so it was like, no. And they kept negotiating till I was happy with the amount that the insurance company came back with.
Yeah.
So they don't just say, well, we got you a settlement offer. You're done.
No, you can continue to negotiate till you're happy. And I think we did the same thing. We did it with our attorneys. And, the public adjuster during a named storm, they'll only take 10%.
Yes.
Well worth it. And then the attorney also took a percentage, still well worth it. We were okay with the service that we received and the repairs that we were able to then do.
Yes.
Some of them we had to do ahead of time. Like, we're not going to let wet carpet just sit on the floor for 18 months because it does take a long time when you get an attorney involved. I would say about 18 months each time. Wow.
Yeah.
A long time. We had another hurricane that came through before we finished the first one.
Right.
So, the insurance companies are just not fun to work with.
No.
And, the amount of money that we as Floridians pay in premiums, you should get way better service. Is
and
how
now
I
we're
feel
paying
about
more
that.
than ever.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm worried what it's going to be this year. So that's really all that I have to say about the, hurricane stuff with your house and insurance. We do have that fun little surprise if you're a brand new homeowner in Florida when you have your first storm and you're like, what is this 2%? What is that? I honestly, when we had our first storm, the 2% wind deductible, I thought that it was 2% of the cost of the damage.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, this won't be too bad.
Yeah.
And then when I realized it was 2% of the insured value of the home, and I was like, that's a lot more money than I was thinking it was going to be.
Yeah.
So don't be like me. Be more educated about what all these numbers are when you're buying a home in Florida, and talk to the insurance broker. Don't just get the quote and be like, oh yeah, that's a good number. I'll you need to ask questions. You need to
and be on top of things. I would say, when your roof starts looking like, hey, it might need to be replaced, but it's still within the guidelines, like sort of, I would say, go ahead and get it replaced when you need to, because the interior damage of your roof coming off, it's just not, it's not fun.
No.
You don't want a storm paying for your roof. You just want to get your roof done, do the things. And there's a lot of lists that come out online of things to have in your home. If you are a new homeowner, make sure you have enough water and flashlights and batteries and, a radio that operates off batteries. Right. Make sure you have those things. It just adds a level of...
If you have a generator, that's fantastic. Not everybody does. And I know sometimes with the power outages, you might not be able to cook if you don't have gas in your home. So have a grill or something outside so you can cook if you need to. It becomes like a huge block party, when people are out of power for
We all share our generators. I have a little one that plugs in. I don't have the big monster one, but it'll power the refrigerator.
Yes.
We have no AC, but it powers fans and the refrigerator, the secondary refrigerator, and the microwave. Things like that. It won't power my stove, but at least I can microwave stuff.
Yeah.
And keep my groceries cool. So so that's it, right?
That's it for this time. If you want to reach us, you can email us at hello@coastalestateteam.com, or you can call our office, 321-422-2160.
Yep. And we will see you next time. If you have questions on hurricanes, how to prepare, or anything related to this, we'd be happy to answer those. Just reach out to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
See you next time.
See you next time. Bye. Cheers.
Sunny days, no clouds in the sky, but